In this video, I'd like to show you how to take the information from your research organizer and put it into your research paper outline. So as you recall on your organizer, up at the top table here, you have the subtopics. And the subtopics are organized by this data designation. Now, because I was just brainstorming when I put this in, this might not necessarily be the order in which I want to address these in my paper, but at least here I know where to find the information by going down to my sources and finding the data designation. So as I am writing my paper, I'm going to determine where I want to start to plug in information from my research. Your introduction is probably not going to include too many direct quotes from your research. It's mostly going to be your own commentary. You might paraphrase or refer to some sources, and if you do, make sure that you cite them properly. Down in the discussion of the current state of the issue, that's where I'm going to want to start to bring in more research, and then certainly down here in my literature review. So for the history behind the issue, I might need some data that addresses that history. So I will come back to my research organizer and then use my data designation here to find where I have the appropriate research organized. So if I want data on the plastics of the ocean to help me explain the history of this issue, I can come down here and find data designation A, and then I know that I can just grab a section of the quote. I'm not going to necessarily need the whole thing. Even if you want to include more of the quote, just grabbing a little bit of it will be useful to you. And then putting the quote with the last name of your source here, and then maybe I might include a little bit of notes to help me get my own thoughts. So in this particular situation, the history that I'm outlining uses data from from something where they were looking for plankton, and they ended up accidentally finding that their equipment was being tangled up in plastics. And so that is where I'm putting that information so that as I'm writing, I can be like, oh yeah, that's right. This was when they were looking for plankton. And then I just simply fill in information as needed by grabbing it from my research organizer and then plopping it in where it's appropriate. As I mentioned down here, the summary of the information in your sources can be organized by topic or by source or a combination of the two. I prefer a topic first approach, but a source first approach might be appropriate for you. A topic first approach is when your data designation is really going to come in handy. And as I mentioned, you don't necessarily want to attack them in this order because this is the order in which I brainstormed. But once you determine what order makes sense to you, and of course, as you're writing, you might want to make some adjustments to that. But you can put in a data designation and start to use that information to plug in the quotes and the information from your research and begin to structure. So I will have some information. Let's say I'm using data designation B first. What solutions have been attempted? And then I would go through and find that data and plop it in there. And then I would continue until I have more or less what I want my paper to look like, so that as I am using that research to round out my paper, I can find easily the information here, know how to cite it, and know where to come back to look for more information. So if I'm beginning to address what solutions have been attempted, I would know that I'm looking for data designation B, and I can come back here and find data designation B and begin to fill that out. I hope that that is useful for you. I hope that this helps you to use the research that you have worked so hard to find and begin to craft it into your paper.